Lainey, when you were
Yeah.
sharing, I almost started to cry.
Oh,
I was like,
Anna.
don't
What a
don't do
story.
that. That is amazing.
I love the
Yeah.
quote, a journey of little yeses. Oh man,
Mm.
that's gonna stick.
Yes.
Yeah, listening to everyone's episodes, I feel like I can relate to everyone. Like, I just got married 6 months ago, so Aurelia, I can't wait to listen to yours. And then Anna, that's actually a fear that I had. I'm excited.
High five. There you go. Hey everybody, welcome to season 2 of Grow Together. This feels so weird to start this conversation without Crystal. Crystal, where are you? I miss you. But I am so thankful for Crystal. As you might have watched our a couple of episodes ago, we had a transition episode introducing Crystal to stepping down as a way to empower other women in ministry leadership. Isn't that an amazing role model that we have? So thank you, Crystal, for your voice and journeying with us thus far. And thank you for your blessing to invite other voices and faces to the conversation. Hey, friends, I am so excited to introduce you to my co-host, another group of co-hosts, but they're in a different seasons of life, bringing unique gifts and talents and voices, and you will love to meet them. Some of you might even know them already. So why don't we do that? Let's call them out, all of our co-hosts, as we are starting off the season 2 Grow Together. Hey everybody, where are you? There you are.
Hey.
Hey!
Hello, ladies. So good to
Hey.
see you. And I just want to give each of you a shout out and just let everybody know that each of you have been highly, highly recommended by some of our leaders in our AG tribe. It wasn't my decision alone. I prayed about it, but there are so many voices, so many leaders who said, you know what, that person just fits right in. And so you guys have been handpicked by God, first of all, but by so many others, affirmed and confirmed. So welcome to the table.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be hanging out with everybody today.
Yes, yes. I was telling everybody, you guys got the cup of coffee. We're going to just have a chat.
Yeah.
And I want you guys, those that are listening in or watching us for whatever platform, join us, get your cup, and we're going to have a conversation about this journey together as you grow together. So this is some new team and new faces. So why don't we just kind of go in circle and introduce ourselves and stories? I want to start with your calling piece because that's important. When we're in ministry, it's kind of interesting. There's a commonality that no minister calls ourselves to be in ministry. I mean, yeah, right? Raise your hand if you've called yourself to ministry. I tell people nobody will do that in the right mind, right? But just if you're only crazy for Jesus, you say yes to this. So we're all crazy for Jesus, and we did that. And so I want to hear your calling piece. Mary, why don't you kick us off and tell us your little bit of journey, how God led you to where you're at today, and part of it is like why you say yes to being on this table.
Sure, I'd love to. So, my story actually started when I was a senior in college, Columbus State University. I'd just gotten out of a really messy breakup, toxic breakup, and one of my friends actually invited me to Chi Alpha Campus Ministries annual fall retreat. And so I went. She said it was at a beach. I said, I can't remember the last time I've been to a beach. Yes, please. While I was there, I got up the courage to tell one of my friends how I ended the toxic relationship. And do you know she burst into tears? And so I said, well, why are you crying? And she said, because I'm going through the same thing. I'm actually in the middle of a divorce. I said, oh, wow.
Wow.
And it really broke my heart. She just cried and cried and cried. I said, what are you the most afraid of? And she said that she was the most afraid of being alone for the rest of her life. And so God opened up a door for me to be able to encourage her. And then the next day, while we were at the retreat, another student overheard us talking, and she said, I'm going through the same thing. And so God opened up the door for me to encourage her as well. And so it was the first time I saw in my life God use such a messy part of my life to help others and to help point others back to Him. So on the last day of the retreat, I said, Lord, the only thing I think I love more than what I'm going to school for right now is telling people how much you love them. does that mean I'm supposed to do full-time ministry? Nah. I ran at first. I had no frame of reference of that in my family, but over the course of the next few weeks, God solidified it. He opened up the door for me to do the campus missions and training program at Columbus State University. Then I was hired on staff shortly after that, and the rest is history. And so, very excited to be on this podcast and just kind of share some of the experiences that I've had over the last 6 years in ministry and some of the different things that I've overcome. And my prayer is that as they hear that I've overcome those areas and it hasn't stopped me from ministry, that they realize they can overcome anything in their lives as well, and it won't stop them from what God is challenging them to do for their lives for ministry.
Amen. Are we glad for our stories, like, our backdrop and even the negative and hardships, that God will really use that to empower other people? Mary, you are such a confident woman. And for those guys that are watching this podcast, I'm sorry, she's taken. She's not yours. She can't be yours. You recently got married. Congratulations.
Thank you. That's right. There's this whole hashtag COVID bride, right? Because of the pandemic.
Yes.
So I got married this past August to my husband.
Awesome. You guys are making history. So proud of you guys and so thankful that you're choosing to grow together with us. Lainey, tell us your story. Now, for those of you who don't know Lainey, you kind of do know her because she's been part of this network of women minister podcast for a while. You haven't seen her face on the video, maybe not, but you probably have seen her pictures because she was doing a lot of behind the scene, and she was my outfit coordinator. She told me what to wear, what not to wear.
I tried.
So, lady, I need you. I love you. I'm so happy you're on this team. So what's up in your world?
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Saehee. Yeah, making the transition from behind the scenes to in front of the scenes. So little terrifying, but bear with me.
You got this.
Oh yeah, definitely. But no, it's been a privilege. So I've served with NWM in a few different ways. I currently serve with one of our field teams right now, which is an absolute joy. But my life has made major transition in the last year or so. I moved out to the North Shore of Boston, Massachusetts. And so I'm currently a seminary student in Mass. And I am serving on as a pastoral intern in one of our church planning teams here, a little bit outside of the North Shore. So it's been a crazy and wild ride. But yeah, I mean, I can echo a lot of what you said. I don't know that pastoral ministry was always the thing I was ready to jump into. I think from a younger age, I felt called into ministry, but I wasn't sure exactly what that looked like. I'm a PK, so shout out to my PKs out there too. Yeah, so I knew kind of the ministry thing. I'd seen it emulated and modeled amazingly from my parents. And I'd seen the great parts of the church, and I'd seen the shadow sides as well. And I love the church, but I wasn't sure what ministry was going to look like, if that meant inside the church or outside of the local church and parachurch ministries. And then I found myself at Evangel University. So that was amazing. And through wonderful mentors and amazing experiences, I ended up in a class with actually, little shout out to Marty Middlestat, Dr. Middlestat. And
he's a champion.
Yeah, he's great. If you've taken him, hard, but great. We were sitting in class, and he had just started off our course with raise your hand if you believe that women can lead pastor. And I honestly hadn't really ever thought about it because I was just yeah. And I sat there and watched as no one raised their hand. And it was one of those moments. Yeah, I was like, wait, is this? I didn't even know it was a question. And so I sat there and I felt like such a distinct invitation from the Lord in my heart to be like, raise your hand. Like, you believe that. And honestly, it was as I was raising my hand to say no, I stand with that. I believe that. But I felt like the Lord said, and that's what I've asked you to do. And I was like, well, that's not what I had in mind. Okay.
Wow.
But it really was one of those amazing moments when I stood there with my hand up, and I felt like it was like that solidarity with the Lord of yes, this is what you've called me to. All right. Yes, I'll say yes. So then it's just been a journey of little yeses. And so, like I said, that's taken me to the North Shore in this season. And I'm excited to continue our conversations and see how we can learn and grow together.
Wow, that is such a wonderful story. So be careful when you say yes to God, right? He's gonna call you out. But what a way of just being obedient. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the team. Now I want to go to Arely. Arely, hola, amiga.
Hola, amigas.
Welcome to the team. So tell us about your journey and the call and what you're doing currently.
Sure. So I was actually born and raised in Mexico. My whole family is from there. And fun fact, I'm actually fourth generation Assemblies of God. So it is deep in my blood. My great grandfather was saved at a crusade down in those ranchos in Mexico. And then my grandfather is an evangelist. He was one of the head leaders of Assemblies of God back in the 50s and 60s. And then my mom and dad met at a Assemblies of God Bible School in Mexico, and they were pastors since I was born. They church planted in La Paz, Mexico, and so my journey has been in ministry. I mean, ever since before I was born. So I come from a family of ministers on my mom's side, and it's always, as Lainey was saying, just seeing how life is in that context, and just the great, amazing things that God does. And so it was sort of, I don't know, assumed that I was gonna be in ministry in some kind of way, but I was personally called when I was a teenager, and I just felt a prompting from the Lord. It actually was because of missions. I heard for the first time in a message that there were millions around the world that had never heard the gospel, and I didn't know that. I was about 12 years old, and I remember going up to the altar and just thinking in my mind, that's not fair. That's not fair that there's people that don't know about Jesus. So I just felt my heart break for that. And as time went along, we came to the States. I went to college to SAGU. Shout out to all SAGU people.
My husband went to SAGU. Yeah.
Oh, yay. So I loved it there. And of course, it's a very missions-minded university. So I got involved in missions. I led some trips. I went on trips. And the more I heard about the Great Commission, the more it burdened my heart. I led the World Prayer ministry there at the church, and at SAGU. And it was just a great time. And so I just felt the prompting from the Lord to be involved in missions, but I didn't know what context it was going to take place in, or what I was going to do. So I was about to graduate, and I said, okay, as soon as I step off the stage in graduation, I'm gonna step on a plane and head wherever the Lord calls me. And it was so interesting because as I was saying, okay, Lord, take me anywhere, suddenly all the doors I had planned shut down, and the only door that opened up was my pastor from back home saying, Arely, we want you to be our youth pastor. We are offering you the position. Would you be interested? And I thought, that's not what I had planned. I was ready to go to Africa, to go anywhere. And suddenly I'm back home. I just felt this desire because the Lord really, it was a question in my mind: who is going to love these youth more than you? Because I knew them. They were from, I met them when they were little. So suddenly I said, God, okay, yes, let's go for it. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know why this is happening.
Yeah.
But as soon as I graduated, I was a 22-year-old full-time youth pastor. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And so the past 5 years, that's been my ministry in youth. And it's been a great time. It's been so fun. And I've seen the Lord's hand in everything. And during this time, I've really gotten to see one of my favorite parts about youth ministry has been instilling the passion for missions to the next generation. Amen. So that's my heart right now. That is what I feel is my calling right now. And so just advocating for young people accepting the call to missions, particularly Hispanic young people that maybe have never heard of the Great Commission, just like I had never done.
Amen. Really, this is amazing, and this is divine moment because for generations before you, they have set this foundation, but now you actually get to be the face of this younger generation for Hispanic body of Christ. I just love it. You bring unique voice to the table and experiences. And my husband's Hispanic, so I am half Hispanic at heart. So I'm super proud that you are here on this journey, and we get to celebrate and champion one another. And utterly, God has appointed you to champion your Hispanic congregation and the body of Christ. God has ordained you to do that. So thank you for saying yes.
Amen. Thank you for letting that.
Oh, yes, this is just the beginning. And now, last but not least, Anna. I have known Anna for almost 11 years, and I have admired her from afar for a long, long time. She's been a student leader when we're in Bible college at Central Bible College together. Such an excellent leader with high standard and high capacities. Now, I'm so thrilled that we get to work together. So, Anna, tell us your journey. You have a unique ministry experience and calling.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. When you say that we've known each other for almost 11 years, I think to myself, has it really been that long since I started college?
We haven't changed that much, have we?
Yeah, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm like still 23, and I'm not. And so, which is like so crazy. But like Saehee said, my name is Anna, and I have the opportunity and the privilege of being a bivocational minister. So with that, I am a full-time counselor. That is my day job, I guess is the way to say it. So when I was in middle school, I made the decision pretty quickly that I wanted to be a politician. I was like, I'm going to be my dream was to do like legislation. So I was like, okay, I want to be like a senator or like dream big, maybe like governor one day. And so I was like, that's the path I'm going to go. And so middle school, that was really my dream. And then in high school, that stuck with me. And I began to find in high school, I was like, yeah, I'm like pretty good at like public speaking. I like to write. I want to help people. So yeah, this is clearly my calling. I'm called to be a politician of some sort. And so in high school, I began to volunteer with different political campaigns. And I was like, yep, this is like my lane. And then my junior year of high school is the tail end of junior year of high school. I was at one of my youth retreats with my church. And the Holy Spirit just spoke very clearly to me one night at the altar service. And I wasn't like living like in like rebellion or far from God, I didn't sense. And the Holy Spirit was just like, Anna, are you for me? Or are you against me? And I was just like, me? Like, I'm for you, God. Like, I'm a student leader. I'm on the worship team. I do all these things. Like, I'm not a PK, but I might as well be because I'm here every time the doors are open, like kind of thing. Yeah. And I felt like the Lord was like, then said, if you're for me, then you need to surrender your future to me. And I was like, and I knew in the back of my heart, like in the back of my mind, I was supposed to be a pastor. And I could even cry now just thinking about it because so badly wanted to honor the Lord, but I also didn't want to walk in that. I have an older sister who's amazing, that she's one of the heroes of my life. She's also a pastor. And so in my mind, I was like, that's her thing. That's not my thing. And so anyways, the Lord was just like, you need to be obedient to me. So I was like, okay, clearly I kind of like public speaking. I want to help people. I want to serve people. Clearly I'm called to be a pastor. It's not that I'm called to be a politician. And so senior year, things began to change. I thought I was going to go to one school. I ended up at Central Bible College, studied ministry there. My freshman year, I actually met my husband, Andrew, something I said I would never do. I said I wasn't going to get married till I was 27. And I started dating my husband when I was 18. Anyways, so went to CBC, graduated from Evangel University, and started in full-time ministry right away, youth ministry, got my master's in counseling along the way. And then about a year and a half ago, my husband and I made the jump from serving full-time in youth ministry to being a part of a church plant in the Indianapolis area. And so I get to be a counselor at a school full-time during the day, but then weekends, evenings, I get to be the discipleship pastor at my church. And so I love getting to facilitate for people their next steps in following Jesus, whether that's learning how to read the Bible or what it means to be in community. That's what I really get to focus on at the church. So that's my season of ministry right now, kind of the shorthand of the journey that led to this point. And then I also get to serve with Lainey on the network of ministers field team for under 40 women. That is one of the most fun things in my life. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Wow. You know, I want to take the statement that I say back, because I felt like I've known you for 11 years, but I really didn't know that story. Your background, your desire, wanted to be a politician and everything, but it does make sense, you know. But as a spiritual leader, we have a spiritual influence even over politics, because that's what Jesus did, right? And so you get to do both, and that's amazing. Oh, by the way, we also share another commonality. I also did meet my husband when I was 18. But how old are you when you got married?
I was 22 when I got married.
Oh, wow. You were wiser than me. I was 19 when I married and had my
What?
first
I didn't hear
child.
that.
I
That's
know.
amazing.
What was God thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, we just celebrated 18 years together. So if God is in it, God is in it. Whether you're single, married, with kids, without kids, God is in it if God calls you, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
all of you. You know, something, our story is all unique, but one thing that is common, which I'm really proud to share this commonality, is that we are all under 40. I have a few more years and then I'll be out, guys. But I am very blessed that we get to do this journey. Now, even though you guys and us are under 40, it doesn't mean this podcast is only for 40. What I would like us to feature in the next episodes, the upcoming episodes, is that we get to share intercultural, intergenerational conversation as we just grow together, you know, in this journey of ministry. We all need each other's voice and support, don't we? So that's great. So I want to just leave you one more question, and anybody can just hop in and answer that. What are you looking for in this season 2? And I'm assuming that we all watched our season 1 grow together. In my many different conversations with Crystal, we've covered some hot topics too. So that's kind of what we're getting into, which I'm excited about. So what are you looking forward to, ladies?
Yeah, well, I'll jump in. I mean, I love that about the podcast. That's been one of my favorite things since it started, just the willingness to jump into the hard places, not just glaze over conversation. But I mean, I know all of us are in ministry on this call and people watching are as well. Like, it's not always easy. And it's not always, you don't always have everyone you'd love to have with you in it always. You've got the Lord, which is always amazing, and you'll have somewhat of a community. But there's moments and seasons of ministry that I think can feel very alone and can feel very isolating, especially right now. And so this is an opportunity for us to get together and say, what are the things that we want to talk about? The real stuff, the hard stuff, the raw stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just open it up. Let's discuss it in a place that's like safe for us, and where we're all for each other and wanting to be each other's champions in that for the Lord and the glory of the church and God. So I'm excited for engaging with that with everyone here and then those who are watching, and we'll get to know throughout the process.
Absolutely. You know, we're not necessarily finding answers to the, you know, situation, but we're processing it together. That's the whole point of growing together, isn't it? And so, yeah, nothing is wrong answers or wrong questions. Let's just talk about it. And I love it. Any of you guys excited to just invite some of your guests? Maybe you are already thinking of it, already reached out to. What are some of the guests that you are thinking about inviting so that we can share our story together?
Yeah, I'm definitely still thinking about some of the guests. I'm dreaming and have a list of people that I'd like to bring on board. I know for sure, though, that I'm really excited about talking about just the importance of healing and going on that journey and taking a look backwards so that we can move forwards and being better at acknowledging our emotions, all things I struggle with, by the way.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to bringing in some dynamic guests so we can have a great discussion on that.
Yeah, some of you guys are watching and like, oh, I know Lainey, I know Mary, I know Adeli, I know Anna. So maybe you're gonna like message them. I want to be on your podcast. Go ahead and do it. Okay, go ahead and do it. Who knows, right? So this is a great opportunity. Adeli and Anna, would you have something to say? And before we wrap up and say see you later to our friends.
Sure. I would love to invite, I'm thinking as well, I'm also thinking about different guests. And I think one of the topics I want to cover is singleness as a young minister. So I'm looking forward to having 1 or 2 guests that kind of we can discuss what life is like in that context. To be single and in ministry is a whole other world. So I would definitely love to discuss that.
That's a great conversation. Single and being a single female in ministry bring a whole new dynamic. So I look forward to it. And I'm sure that those of you that are watching and listening in, I'm like, oh, that's my story. I want to join the conversation. So stay tuned for that. Anna.
So I'm excited first of all, I'm really excited to hear everybody else's episodes, but I'm really excited. Something that's been challenging for me to kind of process through, not so much right now, but in the years prior leading up to now, is that I have an 11-month-old son. And there was some people who spoke over me that motherhood and ministry cannot coexist. Or if they do coexist, one of them is going to get less of you. And so I've really been challenged to press into and find mentorship in the area of how do I own the calling of being, first of all, a daughter of the Father and what he's put in front of me and what he's asked me to do with my life. And also, how do I own the calling of being a mother to my son? Both are important callings, and God wouldn't have given me both of them if they couldn't come together. And so that's the episode I'm dreaming up right now. And I know that isn't necessarily everyone's season, but I think there's something to be said. I'm noticing a lot of my friends who are in ministry right now, we have kids like sub 3 years old. So it's like, okay, how do we have a toddler and write a message and disciple people? And if you're bivocational, which a lot of my friends are in ministry and like have the regular 9-to-5 job. And so that's where I'm like dreaming right now. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's a great conversation. Hey, if you were to look at my resume, I always put this, that I've been a mother and the wife for the past 18 years. And I put that under ministry leadership.
Oh, I love that.
I am proud of it. I'm proud of being a mom. I'm proud of being a wife. And that to me is a ministry. So that's on my resume. Maybe some of you guys can start writing that down. I don't know. But yeah, I look forward to it. And here's the thing, friends. Every one of us, including you that are listening and watching, we all have unique stories. We are all in different seasons of life, but we are all part of God's story. And what's really beautiful about this ministry journey is that we always have something to learn and grow. And so I'm so thankful for my co-host and my friends that's going to journey through our season 2 of Grow Together. Now, stay tuned and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at AG Women Ministers. And we look forward to seeing you with some new faces and new voices with my awesome friends. Guys, we love you. God bless you. We will see you soon. Bye.